The amber glow of evening settled over Manhattan as Olivia Hart glanced nervously at her phone for the third time. The elevator doors had nearly closed when a masculine voice called out from the lobby. Olivia automatically reached for the button to hold the doors open, a reflexive act of courtesy she would soon regret. Her finger pressed the button, and the doors slid back open. The man who stepped inside made her heart stop completely. It was him. The stranger from the Velvet Room stood before her in the confined space of the elevator, looking every bit as commanding as he had on Friday night. Today he wore a navy suit with subtle pinstripes that emphasized his broad shoulders. His dark hair was perfectly styled, and he carried a sleek leather briefcase that spoke of executive authority. Recognition flashed across his face the moment their eyes met. Olivia felt frozen, her breath catching in her throat as the elevator doors closed behind him. The small space suddenly felt incredibly intimate, bringing back vivid memories of their unexpected kiss. She could feel heat rising to her cheeks, that familiar warmth of embarrassment spreading across her skin. Of all the buildings in Manhattan, of all the companies in the financial district, how could he possibly work at Sterling Enterprises? The stranger seemed equally surprised, but recovered with remarkable composure. His lips curved into a smile that held both amusement and something warmer. He greeted her with a calm good morning, his voice carrying that same low, pleasant tone she remembered. The casual way he acknowledged their meeting suggested he found the coincidence entertaining rather than awkward. Olivia managed a weak greeting in response, her professional training barely maintaining her composure. Up close in the bright elevator lighting, she noticed details she had missed in the bar's dim ambiance. His eyes were an even more striking shade of blue, almost sapphire in their intensity. Fine lines at the corners suggested he smiled often, though his overall demeanor carried the weight of responsibility and authority. He commented on the coincidence of meeting again, his tone light and conversational. Olivia searched for something intelligent to say, but found her usually quick mind had turned to complete chaos. She worked at Sterling Enterprises, had walked these halls for 2 years, yet had never encountered this man. The company employed over 800 people across 20 floors, so perhaps their paths simply had never crossed before. Still, someone with his presence should have been memorable. The elevator climbed steadily, passing floor after floor. Olivia became acutely aware of every second, of the subtle scent of his cologne, of the way he stood with relaxed confidence. He broke the silence by asking if her ex-boyfriend's situation had resolved itself. The question was casual but showed genuine concern. Olivia confirmed that Jordan had not contacted her since Friday, expressing surprised gratitude that the plan had actually worked. The stranger nodded with satisfaction, seeming pleased that his assistance had achieved the desired result. He mentioned that ex-relationships could be complicated, his understanding tone suggesting personal experience. The elevator dinged softly as it reached the 15th floor. Olivia stepped forward, preparing to exit, then paused. Something made her turn back, some impulse she could not quite name. She introduced herself properly, giving her full name with a nervous smile. The stranger's expression warmed further as he returned the introduction. He told her his name was Nathan, his handshake firm and warm when she impulsively offered her hand. The elevator doors began closing again, and Olivia hurried off, not catching his last name in her flustered state. She walked toward her cubicle in a daze, her mind spinning with questions about who Nathan was and what department he worked in. The morning proceeded with normal routine as Olivia focused on preparing materials for the upcoming executive presentation. Her colleague Tyler Chen stopped by her desk around 11, sharing gossip about weekend activities and office rumors. Olivia only half listened until an email notification appeared on her screen. The subject line made her sit up straighter in her chair. The company-wide announcement detailed a major leadership transition. Richard Sterling, the founder and CEO who had built the company from nothing, was retiring after 40 years. His successor would be formally introduced at a mandatory meeting scheduled for 2 o'clock that afternoon in the main conference center. The email explained that the new CEO had been working quietly from the executive floor for several weeks, meeting with department heads to ensure a smooth transition. Tyler speculated about the new leadership. mentioning rumors he had heard from contacts in other departments. Apparently, the incoming CEO had an impressive track record in strategic development and had been personally selected by Richard Sterling himself. The transition had been kept remarkably quiet, with only senior executives aware of the timeline. Now the entire company would finally learn who would lead them into the future. The hours before the meeting crawled by with agonizing slowness. Olivia tried focusing on work but found her concentration fractured. She kept thinking about Nathan, wondering which department he worked in and whether she might see him again. The memory of their kiss refused to fade, replaying in her mind at inconvenient moments. She told herself sternly to forget the entire incident and maintain professional focus. At precisely 2 o'clock, Olivia joined the stream of employees heading toward the conference center. The large space filled rapidly with hundreds of staff members, everyone curious about the announcement. Claire found Olivia in the crowd, squeezing in beside her with excitement. The Human Resources Director had been given minimal advance notice, knowing only that the announcement would happen today. Victoria Walsh, Sterling's Chief Operating Officer, took the podium first. She delivered a heartfelt speech about Richard Sterling's legacy, his vision for the company, and his careful planning for succession. The room listened respectfully, though anticipation hummed through the crowd like electricity. Everyone wanted to know who would lead them forward. Victoria's expression shifted to a warm smile as she prepared to introduce the new CEO. She spoke of his impressive credentials, his innovative thinking, and his commitment to Sterling's values. Then she announced his name clearly for everyone to hear. Nathan Pierce, formerly head of strategic development, would assume the role of Chief Executive Officer effective immediately. Olivia's entire world tilted sideways as Nathan walked confidently onto the stage. The stranger from the bar, the man she had kissed on Friday night, the elevator companion from that morning, was Nathan Pierce. He was not just any executive. He was the CEO, the highest authority in the entire organization, her ultimate boss in every possible sense. Blood rushed in Olivia's ears as shock rolled through her in waves. She had kissed the CEO of Sterling Enterprises. She had asked him to participate in her desperate scheme without any idea of his identity. Tomorrow, she was scheduled to present the quarterly marketing strategy to the executive leadership team, which now included Nathan Pierce himself. Nathan began his address with polished confidence, speaking about his vision for Sterling's future and his commitment to innovation and excellence. His voice carried across the room with authority, commanding attention from every person present. As his gaze swept across the assembled employees, it seemed to pause briefly on Olivia. A knowing smile flickered at the corner of his mouth, so subtle and brief she might have imagined it. Claire leaned close, whispering urgently that Olivia looked pale. She asked if everything was all right, concern evident in her voice. Olivia struggled to form words, her throat tight with mortification. Finally, she managed to whisper the truth. The stranger they had approached on Friday, the man who had helped her escape Jordan, was Nathan Pierce. He was the new CEO. Understanding dawned on Claire's face in stages, her eyes widening with each realization. She stared at Nathan on stage, then back at Olivia, then at Nathan again. Her hand flew to her mouth, barely containing a reaction that would have been entirely inappropriate for the professional setting. When she finally could speak, her whispered words carried equal parts shock and disbelief. Olivia wanted nothing more than to disappear, to sink through the floor and never return. Instead, she stood trapped in the crowded conference center, forced to watch Nathan Pierce command the room with effortless charisma. He spoke of accountability, transparency, and leading by example. Each word felt like it carried additional meaning meant specifically for her. The meeting concluded with polite applause, but Olivia barely registered the sound. Her mind raced through implications and potential consequences. Professional disaster loomed before her like an unavoidable storm. She had kissed the CEO, not just any casual kiss, but one charged with unexpected chemistry and genuine attraction. How could she possibly face him during tomorrow's presentation? How could she maintain professional credibility when this mortifying secret stood between them? The remainder of Monday passed in a blur of anxiety and racing thoughts. Olivia retreated to her cubicle after the announcement, unable to shake the feeling that her career at Sterling Enterprises hung by a thread. Claire tried offering reassurance before returning to her own department, but her words felt hollow against the magnitude of what had happened. Olivia had not just embarrassed herself in front of any colleague. She had involved the CEO in a personal drama without his consent. That evening, Olivia sat in her small apartment overlooking the city, replaying every moment of their encounters. The kiss that had seemed like a desperate solution now felt like a massive professional mistake. Yet beneath the embarrassment, she could not deny the connection she had felt. The way Nathan's eyes had searched hers, the gentleness of his touch, the electricity that had passed between them. None of it felt accidental or meaningless. Tuesday morning arrived with crushing inevitability. Olivia dressed with extra care, choosing a professional navy dress and blazer combination that projected confidence she did not feel. She arrived at Sterling Enterprises 30 minutes early, heading directly to the executive conference room to prepare for her presentation. The space intimidated her with its floor-to-ceiling, windows offering panoramic city views, and a massive table that could seat 20 people. She had just finished arranging her presentation materials when the door opened. Nathan Pierce entered alone, looking composed and professional in a charcoal gray suit that complemented his striking blue eyes. Olivia's heart jumped into her throat as he closed the door behind him with a soft click. He explained that he wanted to review the agenda before the other executives arrived, his tone casual and businesslike. Olivia straightened, forcing her voice to remain steady despite the nervous energy coursing through her. She greeted him formally, addressing him as Mr. Pierce and trying desperately to establish professional distance. Nathan smiled slightly, setting his leather portfolio on the conference table. He asked her to call him Nathan instead, mentioning with light humor that formality seemed unnecessary given their previous encounter. The reference hung in the air between them, impossible to ignore. Olivia felt heat flooding her cheeks, but maintained eye contact through sheer determination. She began a formal apology, trying to explain her actions on Friday night and express regret for involving him in her personal situation. Nathan interrupted gently, finishing her sentence with insight that surprised her. He suggested that if she had known his identity, she would have chosen a different stranger. Despite her nervousness, Olivia found herself smiling at his perceptiveness. She agreed, adding that she definitely would have selected someone with less organizational authority. Nathan laughed, a warm, genuine sound that eased some of the tension knotting her shoulders. He told her he was actually glad she had not known his identity. Meeting her had been refreshing because people rarely acted naturally around someone in his position. The comment revealed vulnerability Olivia had not expected. She busied herself with her presentation materials, unsure how to respond. Nathan's next question caught her off guard. He asked if Jordan was still bothering her, referring to her ex-boyfriend by name, though she had never mentioned it. The personal concern in his voice made something flutter in her chest. Olivia confirmed that Jordan had stopped all contact, admitting she had not thought about him since Friday. She thanked Nathan again for his help, genuinely grateful that the situation had resolved itself. Nathan nodded with satisfaction, then shifted the conversation to business. He mentioned looking forward to her presentation, noting that Richard Sterling had spoken highly of the marketing department's innovative approaches. The transition to professional topics helped Olivia regain her equilibrium. Other executives began arriving shortly after, filling the conference room with conversation and the rustle of papers. Olivia took her position at the head of the table, her presentation materials organized and ready. She had always excelled at public speaking, and preparation helped override her nerves about presenting to Nathan specifically. The presentation flowed smoothly from beginning to end. Olivia outlined the quarterly marketing strategy with confidence, highlighting successful campaigns and proposing innovative directions for future initiatives. She presented data on social media engagement, brand recognition improvements, and return on investment metrics. Throughout her talk, she remained acutely aware of Nathan watching her with focused attention. His expression remained professional, occasionally nodding or making notes in his leather journal. Yet Olivia sensed something beneath the surface, an intensity in his gaze that went beyond standard executive interest. When she concluded her presentation, the chief marketing officer praised her work enthusiastically. Other executives offered similar compliments, and Olivia felt pride mixing with relief. As the meeting adjourned, executives gathered their materials and filed out, discussing various agenda items. Nathan approached Olivia as she collected her handouts, his voice low enough that only she could hear. He complimented her presentation, calling it impressive and insightful. Then he made a request that sent her pulse racing. He wanted to discuss some of her ideas further over lunch the following day. Olivia's mind immediately raced through implications. Lunch with the CEO could be purely professional, a chance to discuss marketing strategies in detail. Yet the way Nathan looked at her suggested something more personal might be developing. Refusing seemed unwise from a career perspective, but accepting felt dangerous for entirely different reasons. She agreed to the lunch, striving for a casual tone that belied her internal turmoil. Nathan confirmed the arrangement, mentioning that his assistant would send details later. He left before Olivia could respond, leaving her standing alone in the conference room with questions swirling through her mind. What exactly had she agreed to? Was this a business meeting or something else entirely? The line between professional and personal had become dangerously blurred. Word of the lunch invitation spread through Sterling Enterprises with remarkable speed. By mid-afternoon, Tyler stopped by her cubicle with poorly concealed curiosity. He mentioned hearing rumors about her upcoming meeting with Nathan, noting that the new CEO rarely requested one-on-one time with individual employees. Even senior executives had been struggling to get private meetings scheduled. Olivia insisted it was strictly business, that Nathan simply wanted to discuss marketing strategies in more depth. Tyler's skeptical expression suggested he did not believe her completely. He pointed out that Janet Reynolds, the chief marketing officer, had been trying unsuccessfully to secure dedicated time with Nathan since his arrival. The implication was clear. Nathan's interest in Olivia seemed to extend beyond normal executive behavior. Wednesday arrived with Olivia's nerves stretched taut. Nathan's assistant had sent details about lunch at an upscale Italian restaurant several blocks from Sterling headquarters. The location was public enough to seem professional, yet intimate enough to allow genuine conversation. Olivia changed her outfit 3 times before settling on a sophisticated burgundy dress that struck the right balance between professional and approachable. The restaurant impressed her immediately with its elegant ambiance and discreet seating arrangements. Nathan was already waiting at a corner table when she arrived, standing politely as she approached. He had removed his suit jacket, his white shirt, and navy tie, creating a more relaxed appearance. Something about seeing him outside the office environment made her heart race faster. They ordered lunch and made initial small talk about work topics, but the conversation soon drifted into more personal territory. Nathan asked about her background, her career aspirations, and what had drawn her to marketing. Olivia found herself opening up more than she had intended, sharing stories about her journey and the challenges she had overcome to reach her current position. Nathan listened with genuine interest, asking thoughtful questions that showed he truly cared about her answers. He shared his own path to the CEO position, including the pressure of stepping into Richard Sterling's legendary shoes. The conversation revealed a man who felt the weight of responsibility deeply, who worried about living up to expectations and leading hundreds of employees effectively. As their lunch progressed, Olivia realized the professional boundaries were dissolving completely. The way Nathan looked at her held unmistakable attraction. The way their conversation flowed felt natural and effortless, as if they had known each other far longer than a few days. When their hands accidentally touched while reaching for water glasses, neither pulled away immediately. Nathan eventually addressed the tension directly with characteristic honesty. He admitted that meeting her on Friday had been the most genuine interaction he had experienced in years. In his position, people constantly calculated their words and actions around him. Olivia had approached him as simply a stranger who could help, without agenda or pretense. That authenticity had captivated him from the first moment. Olivia felt her breath catch at his confession. She admitted the kiss had affected her more deeply than she wanted to acknowledge. The connection between them felt real and powerful, yet the professional complications seemed insurmountable. How could they possibly explore these feelings given the massive power imbalance? Office relationships carried risk, but a relationship between CEO and coordinator seemed impossible. Nathan leaned forward, his blue eyes intense and sincere. He acknowledged every concern she raised as valid and important. He would never want their connection to compromise her career or create uncomfortable situations. Yet he also could not deny what he felt. He suggested they proceed carefully and thoughtfully, maintaining absolute transparency and ensuring that Olivia's professional achievements stood on their own merit. The conversation continued for over 2 hours, long past when they should have returned to the office. They discussed boundaries, professional ethics, and how to navigate their growing feelings responsibly. Nathan proposed keeping their connection private initially, while ensuring that Olivia's work received fair evaluation, independent of their personal relationship. He wanted to protect her reputation while being honest about his intentions. Over the following weeks, Nathan and Olivia developed a relationship built on mutual respect and genuine affection. They met outside work hours, always in discreet locations where they could simply be two people getting to know each other. Nathan made certain that Olivia's projects received no preferential treatment, even assigning another executive to review her work to avoid any appearance of favoritism. Olivia proved herself repeatedly through exceptional performance. Her marketing campaigns generated measurable results that impressed the entire executive team. When a major promotion opportunity arose 3 months later, Olivia competed against 5 other qualified candidates. The selection committee, which Nathan deliberately excluded himself from, chose Olivia based purely on her portfolio and strategic vision. The promotion to senior marketing manager came with significant responsibility and visibility. Olivia had earned it through talent and dedication, not through any connection to Nathan. This achievement gave them both confidence that their relationship did not compromise her professional integrity. They had been careful, respectful, and committed to doing things the right way. 6 months after their first encounter at the Velvet Room, Nathan made their relationship public through proper channels. He disclosed it to the board of directors and human resources, ensuring complete transparency. Sterling Enterprises had policies allowing relationships between employees at different levels, provided they were disclosed and managed appropriately. Nathan and Olivia followed every guideline meticulously. The announcement surprised many colleagues, but ultimately received acceptance. Olivia's proven track record spoke for itself, and Nathan's leadership had earned widespread respect. Their relationship demonstrated that love could flourish even in complicated circumstances when built on honesty, equality, and genuine connection. They had not allowed hierarchy to dictate their hearts, yet they had honored professional responsibilities throughout. Standing together at Sterling's annual gala a year after their first kiss, Olivia reflected on their journey. What had begun as a desperate moment in a bar had transformed into the most meaningful relationship of her life. Nathan stood beside her, his hand warm in hers, no longer just her CEO but her partner in every sense. They had proven that true love could transcend any obstacle when two people committed to respecting each other completely. The story of how they met became legendary at Sterling Enterprises, though few knew the complete truth. Olivia smiled, remembering that Friday evening, the moment of panic that had led to unexpected magic. Sometimes the best things in life emerged from the most unlikely circumstances. Sometimes asking a stranger for help led to finding your soulmate. And sometimes love appeared exactly when you stopped looking for it, in the form of a man with sapphire blue eyes and a gentle smile that changed everything.